We're going to continue Psalm 79. In verse 5 it says, Admo Adonai te'enaf lanetzach, tiv'ar k'mo eish kinasecha. Until how long, for how long, Hashem, are you going to continue to be angry with us? Will your zealousness against us burn like fire? It's been almost 2,000 years. How much longer do we have to suffer? And then the psalm switches, and we say the two verses that are famous because we say them every Seder night. Shafar chamascha el hagoyim asher lo yidaucha, va'al mamlachos asher b'shimcha lo karau. Instead, turn your anger, pour your wrath on the non-Jews, asher lo yidaucha, that do not know you. Va'al mamlachos asher b'shimcha lo karau, and on the kingdoms that do not call in your name. And there's two different groups here. There's the non-Jews, the nations that do not recognize you or do not know you. And then there's the kingdoms that do not call in your name. The commentaries explain these are two different groups. The first group are groups of pagans who revel and enjoy sacrifice and blood and murder, just like their gods are constantly fighting among themselves, so that their people emulate them, and everything's about child sacrifice. It's a terrible, it's a love and a worship of death that comes from following the pagan gods. These are nations that don't recognize you at all. And then there are kingdoms who do recognize you. They do recognize that there is one God, a one infinite God, and yet they don't call in your name. Now, unfortunately, our enemy at the moment is an enemy that does call in God's name. Every time they want to attack us, they say, Allah Akbar. They scream out, God is great. But what we have to understand, what it means here by does not call out in your name, it's referring to what our forefather Abraham did. It says that Abraham built an eshel. He built an inn that was open, free for all wayfarers. And it says that there, Abraham called out in the name of Hashem. And the sages say that what that meant was that he taught the people who were walking through his tent the concept of one God who has created the world just to give. A world of goodness and kindness and chesed. He says, that's why I've opened this particular inn, so that you can come and you can enjoy and you can learn and you can then emulate that God, not your pagan gods with their death lust, with their bloodlust, but the one God who doesn't need anything and just wants to give, and therefore emulate him and be a Baal Chesed, do kindness, give. That's what it really means to call out in Hashem's name. These animals are not calling out in Hashem's name, not in a real way. So we ask Hashem instead to turn his wrath, his anger on these people who, we may not be perfect, but compared to them, that's where the anger, that's where Hashem's anger should really be directed, to these people who are desecrating his name. Ki ochal es Yaakov ve'es novehu shamu. Because these people have devoured Yaakov, they have killed and massacred the Jewish people, and they've destroyed Hashem's holy place.